Fastpitch TV show. We're bringing you more interviews, more videos, and more product reviews than anyone else on the planet. Sit back and get ready. Here's the Fastpitch TV show.
Hello, I'm your host, Gary Leland, and this is the Fastpitch TV show. Now, if you've never been to my website, please take a look at fastpitch.tv. This is the home of the Fastpitch TV network and the place to find all my softball videos and blogs. It's probably the largest network for free softball video and blog posts on the entire internet. Now, I'm adding new shows all the time, so please take a look, but wait till after you finish watching this episode. I also want to tell you about some great news. I think it's great news about my magazine, the Fastpitch Softball Magazine. The Fastpitch Magazine is now available on the iPhone. That's right, it's so cool. I'm really pumped about this. To see the magazine, just go to the App Store on your iPhone or your iPad and search Fastpitch Softball. It should come right up for you. And if you already subscribe on your iPad, well, this is really cool. You're automatically subscribed on your iPhone too, okay? Now, new issues come out the first week of every month, and we have a great group of writers like Olympians Kat Osterman and Natasha Watley, and so many more. You really need to visit fastpitchmagazine.com today. This is not a fun little kids magazine. This is a serious coaching tool. You are going to love it, I promise you. Now, this week I'm going to bring you another session from Softball Con. Now, if you're not familiar with Softball Con, you probably don't watch this show if you're not. But if you're not, you should check out their website at softballcon.net. It's a great clinic that's held every year in Louisville, Kentucky, and they fly me in to film it. Now, this week we have part 2 of a clinic by Shonda Stanton, head coach at Marshall University, and she's being helped by Amanda Williams. Amanda is a 7-year veteran in the National Pro Fastpitch League. Today's clinic it may be called small ball, but it can lead to big results. Now, if you've not seen part 1 yet, you may want to go watch that first and just go to fastpitch.tv/239 and you can watch it. Now, let's watch part 2 now.
All right, let's talk, we said bunting, for us, even though we love to steal, bunting is going to be important for us this year. So, we just came out the other day at practice and did a circuit where, we had our kids start off and they went through their dry technique. And so they did 10 where it's like, boom, show me your bumper base hit technique, Amanda. And she'd go and she'd do 10 of those. All right, now show me your slap. Pretend you're righty. Let's talk slap, righty. All right, again, your bumper base hit there. Now let's talk righty slap. Your objective is to sell bunt. Okay, so she would be in the same position as a sacrifice bunt. And all she's going to do as the pitch is coming in, it's all going to be one motion, but we're going to break it down. I want the shoulders to stay where they are. Bring top hand down, bring bat, and now drive through the ball. We don't have to swing down. Okay, just hit the top half of the ball. That's all. But you don't have to chop at it, because now, if you're chopping at it, your timing has to be perfect. We still want you to get on the path of the ball and have a better chance to drive through that. Just hit the top half of the ball. So our slap, we're here, we're in a good position, we pull back and drive. When we start teaching it, what we'll see, go ahead and pull back like our kids were doing the other day. Okay, so now corner nose, I don't have to keep charging because you're going to drive the ball. Don't pull back. And then they'll say, I just can't hit it as hard. Sure you can. If you're strong and balanced, now if you're here, yeah, you're going to be silly and you're not going to hit it as hard as you can. But if you're balanced and strong and you have that good base, you're going to be able to pull back and drive the ball as hard as you could, as if you were standing up and had a strong base. Okay, so that's our slap righty. So we did dry technique. We'll do 10 of each. Do my bumper base hit. Do my 3 bumps. Our slappers will go through whatever they go through.
So now, the 2 main points with that, with the base hit bunt, like we said, we want our shoulders staying square to the plate. When we do the slap, we want our shoulders staying square to the pitcher. Okay, so that's all it is. And I'm just bringing that top hand. You don't want that bottom hand to come up. That bottom hand's going to stay here. When we bring it back to our ear, it's the top hand that's going to come down.
All right, after they do drive, they'll just partner up. And the thing that'll drive me nuts is, our kids, let's say we're working on a sacrifice bunt. And I'll say, square. She'll square and she'll have the bat down in her belly button, and I'll pitch her the ball. Okay, there's one of you, and maybe you're fortunate and you have a couple assistants. We're fortunate we have the max limitation, but still it's only 8 eyes with all of my coaches. If we can have every kid focusing on, if your kids understand what you're doing and why you're doing it, she should square and I should say, Amanda, come on, get your bat in your eyes. All right, and now I'm ready. Now I'll pitch her the ball. All right, but you've got to get your kids to help you help themselves and help their teammates. Hold each other accountable. There's no reason that you should walk around and they're doing partner bunts and they're just going through the motion. Because you know what? We go through the motion there. Now we've gone through our partner bunts. Now we're moving to front toss. All right, now we're ready to get into our drill stuff, and we go ahead and set up a light flight machine. We're bunting off of that, or a regular machine. All right, now next, we're going to do a continuous bunt drill. And what do you think happens? All heck breaks loose. Technique stinks. Bunts are going everywhere. So they have got to, even though it's boring, if you're too big to do the little things, you're too little to do the big things. Right? And I tell you what, we won our conference semifinal game and got us to the championship game because of bunts. We didn't score a run. Actually, it was a slap up the middle, so that ball did get through the infield, and that scored our third run. Was it 3-2? But our first 2 runs, we scored all because of bunts and stolen bases. Did not hit the ball out of the infield. And that was in our Conference USA semifinal game, and that got us to the championship game. And so again, that small ball is so important. Now, one of them was a squeeze from third, one of our big kids, and that's why I'm saying whether you're a big kid this year or one of our few small kids, if you can't be a proficient bunter, and you can't squeeze, and you can't sacrifice bunt, and you can't bump for base hit, you can't be in our lineup. All right, so you got to make sure your kids understand the importance and the value of doing the small things that just seem boring. Technique's got to have it. All right, going to the continuous bunt drill then. Go ahead, you have something? Okay. All right, the continuous bunt drill. What we do is we'll have a pitcher, 2 pitchers back to back, okay? And so for us the other day, we have 2 pitchers that may not pitch for us, but we've had some injuries, so they're other positions, and we're just getting them to throw. So they just were kind of throwing BP, and they were back to back. And so I'm throwing to the girl at home. She's throwing to the girl at second, which now is home as well. All right, we've got, so the bunter is going to run it out, and you're going to bunt it and run it out. I'm going to run to first. If I'm the bunter here at second, I'm running to third. The runners at third are treating that like a first base. Okay, so they're going off of the bunter who's at second, and then the runners at first are doing live off of that kid as well. So they see it down and they advance. They pull up about 3/4 of the way, so they come off hard, they get in their secondary lead, they see the ball's down, and they break. They see the ball's popped up, everybody in line's yelling back, 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 go diving in. All right, so you're working on base running, you're working on bunting, and you're seeing the ball come at you. All right, so after we did that,
and with that, if they miss the bunt or they pop it up, we just have them, instead of just running to first base, we have them continue and do like a sprint all the way down to the right field, fence or whatever. So it's a little bit of reinforcement, a little bit of encouragement for them to get the bunts down.
Encouragement, I like that. Positive reinforcement. All right, so after we did that, then we added, our pitchers were getting their workout in, and then we added our real pitchers. Not that the other kids weren't real, but then we added our kids that were actually throwing pitches. So we just progressed. We did everything dry, we did everything partner, and then hopefully now we're working on bunt defense. We just have 1 defense out there. We put the continuous stuff eventually, and now we've done a full day of bunting. And we've gotten base running in, we've gotten some bunt defense in, and hopefully we'll get in games and we'll execute. Hopefully, that's the goal. Because we want that next 60 feet, however you can get it. Are any questions about anything that I've covered so far? We're good? Yes?
Do you use catchers in that same bunting drill?
We do for sometimes when we set that up, we will have the more of a live kid. And the other kid's just throwing BP. We'll do the catcher there, and the other one will have a screen. Okay? So for the
We've done it
first...
with 2 catchers before too, so depends on what you have.
Depends on your personnel. Yeah. But we for sure, once we get to the real pitcher going one way, we'll definitely have a catcher there. We can have a screen on the other side. We've done it with a machine going the one direction and a pitcher going the other direction, or a coach can be out there. However, modify the drill for whatever personnel that you have, whatever equipment that you have as well. What else? Any other questions? All right, let's talk. Go ahead. Oh, good gosh, where are you going? Come on, somebody can't give them a ride so they can stick around. They're missing out.
Thank you.
It was nice to meet you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for what you do. All right. Let's talk commands. As far as I mentioned, how are we on time? 20 to 12. Okay, good. So 10 minutes. All right. When I talked about having that dugout language and your team understanding your vocabulary, same thing with your commands. Whatever you do as a coach, do it. But be consistent with it. There's nothing worse than, a kid comes sliding into third and she's out and you turn around and you're all upset and, trying to show that kid up and make her look like an idiot. My philosophy is practice is my time, and so we get after our kids at practice. We had a recruit in the other day and the dad afterwards said, gosh, you really let them have it at practice. And that's because we want the practice to be harder than the games. But when it comes game time, that's their time. And I will never, ever embarrass a kid in my program unless they are not hustling or they are doing something to disrespect the Marshall name. Okay? They don't perform, they don't execute, they're going to make mistakes. I mean, you guys, if you're dealing with young people, I'm dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds, and you would be surprised at the mistakes they make. And I tell you what, I love this team. We have got a first-class group, but we with 11 newcomers, we're going to be a lot better in May than we are opening weekend. We go to South Florida next weekend and face off against Michigan and South Florida on day one. We're going to have some growing pains, but we're very good. But they're going to make mistakes. And as a coach, if you can't accept that they're going to make mistakes, then you got to evaluate what you're doing. Okay, but don't show your kids up on the field. There's nothing that I hate more than when I go recruiting and I see that. So, again, a kid slides in and you're all frustrated. It's because maybe your commands aren't consistent. Maybe you haven't practiced your commands. We'll get out there and when we do base running and stuff, we'll just front toss and we'll have base runners and they'll be in groups of 3, and then we'll have another set of base running and they're hitting, and we'll tell the kid, all right, we're doing a hit and run. So the runner at first, everyone's yelling out hit and run, and we go through it fast. All right, sack fly, we got runners at third, we're hitting behind the runner. Now we're bunting. So we'll do a 5-pitch sequence. So pick your 5 pitches, what you want them to accomplish. Your base runners know the circuit, everybody goes through the circuit. So now you're getting cuts in, you're executing offensively, and you're getting your base running circuit. Commands, that's where it started and I got off track. Again, I use both arms, right? So this is my lead runner, this is my backside runner. My only job is to stop you. You guys go, go, go. Her language, go ahead, talk about your language from first.
Just as far as on this actual single, I'm telling them to get there. If they're rounding first, I'm telling them to round and pick up the ball. Like she kind of touched on it earlier, but something that drives me nuts is these kids will have the balls hit to the outfield and they'll just, take a lead right here. That's not telling anybody that I want that next base. So we practice going aggressive rounds from first base. I'm getting all the way out there, and then now I see that she's actually throwing that ball into second base. Now I can kind of see where that ball goes. If it gets away, I'm getting there. Or if it's somebody that they don't even throw to second base, they're throwing off to the cut and no one's even covered to, I'm just going to continue on. So we're always pushing to get the next base. So round it. On steals, we kind of reinforce. I'll just tell the kids get there, and that will just mean that they're going to be stealing. I'll tell them, make sure you're picking up your coach, picking her up, breaking up 2, freezing on a line. So those are just reminders that I go through every single time that they're on first base. Picking up your coach, breaking up 2, freezing on a line, scoring in the gaps. All those things, you need to make sure that you're reinforcing to the girls when they get on first base.
Okay, so get your language, get your commands. Let your kids know what it is. All our kids have to flash the outs back to me. They're still going to make mistakes. There'll be 2 outs and they thought there was 1 and they're holding up. But you're going to have a better shot if you're flashing it to them and they have to flash it back. If I do this, that's just reminding them pick me up. If I'm pointing and they're at second, that's reminding them freeze on a line. Our kids, we talk all the time. You can be hearing impaired and be very successful at our game because it's all about seeing. All right, and so it shouldn't be I didn't hear you, I didn't know what was going on. So you got to make sure you have commands. So we'll point. If I point to the outfield and they're at second, that's reminding them check your outfield. So they're on second base. You'll see our kids take a look. That way, when the ball's hit, and you get that little duck flare. They know I'm off, right? Because the outfield is a little bit deeper. 5 minutes, thank you. So freeze on a line. If I'm pointing to third base and they're on second, they know to take a straight lead. All right. So maybe we're getting some balls in that 5-6 hole, and I don't want us to get out on the force. If I'm pointing out to the shortstop area or the dirt area, they know to take an angle lead. So I should see their feet shift. And I'll point like this and they'll be like, yeah, coach, and their feet won't move. I'm like, fix your feet, okay? So we want them going in the direction that we're running. If I point to the shortstop, don't truck her. We've had that happen. We had that happen twice, and we practice running all the time, but we had run out of pinch runners and 2 of our big girls just truck the shortstop. All right, so if I'm pointing to the shortstop, I don't care what your lead is, I don't care where it is, just we got a runner at third here, we want to score this run, do not truck the shortstop, okay? Do not run into her. So just whatever your commands are, use them. You know, some people are just one arm cranking it, whatever. The hardest thing I think as a coach for me to learn after the first couple of years coaching was I wanted to see the play down there. But we talk to our kids all the time about, you know, not having popcorn and having a great seat, right? You're here to be involved in the next play, finish it, right? So as soon as I tell this kid to go, I'm picking up this kid. I'm not even watching if she scored, if she was out. I'm picking up the ball and throwing where it is, all right? Again, when I hold them up down the line, I want them to round big, all right? And they see the throw off. All they're waiting for me is if I yell back. Otherwise, they're advancing and seeing it. All right, so get your commands, get your language, and roll with it. Fake bunt steal. We love to use the fake bunt steal. This execution, please don't have your shortstop and the third baseman communicate who has the bag. Okay, you have to have a different system, and so I won't tell you what ours is, but we have a system that we go through in our defensive system where our kids communicate who has the bag without saying, hey, you got the bag on the bunt. Hey, I got it. All right. I, as a third base coach, I just stand there and wait for the shortstop and third baseman and tell me what play I'm going to run. As soon as they tell me, I turn and we go ahead and I give fake bunt steal. Fake bunt steal all has to do with the hitter, and it's all timing. All right. When the third baseman is going to bite on that bunt, all my runner at second has to do is to beat the shortstop. The minute you square, the shortstop cheats, right? So it's got to be late. If the third baseman is back, you got to stab at it because you got to bite her a step. If she's up, you don't have to get the strike, right? So it's late. If the ball is up in on you, it's just getting to make them understand that their coverage on that bunt was that the shortstop's covering, and now my girl at second's going to beat her.
Okay, everyone write that down because that is key, and that's probably a third of our stolen bases is from fake bunt steal. So runner at second base, fake bunt steal, the batter always shows bunt late. Okay, they stab at it only if the third baseman is back, and they can pull back if she's up. Okay, you utilize that. You don't even have to have your base stealers being the ones that are stealing third base. If that girl, as a batter, has the correct timing, you could have even some of your slower girls still be safe on that play at third base. And then they end up throwing it in left field, and now you have a run also because the shortstop doesn't even make it there.
If we run that play and we are out at third, they'll get in the craft word, mom, dad, be like, gosh, your coach is running you out of innings. No, you didn't execute. Because we're only running that play when we know that the third baseman's biting on the bunt. And hands down, any kid on our roster will steal on that. And our fast kids are up at third. They don't even make a throw. Okay? So execute that. That's a great arsenal to put in you. First and thirds, run. Please run. Do something. Don't wait for your hitter to hit him in. There's no need. It's difficult. We play against some of the best catchers. We had one of the best catchers in the country last year. She made the USA Elite team. And you got to run. People even try to run on her too. I mean, you have got to run. Do something. Get moving. The only thing I would say in a delay, do not go halfway and pull up. You're in no man's land and you should be out. The defense screws up if you don't. So we teach our kids on a good delay. Come off hard like a straight steal, so we call it more like a steal and slow. They'll come off, they'll go hard like they're stealing. When they get about 3/4 of the way, they'll pull up if the throw is coming through. If the throw goes through to second, they will pull up, and so it depends how deep they get based on their agility. And they just want to make sure they can retreat. If they give it to them and the girl cuts it, there's no throw, take it. You want that next 60 feet. Don't dance out there and say, throw it here. Right? No, the goal is now you have 2 in scoring position. Now we have second and third. Let's go ahead and put 23 on. Our 23 is second and third. Any ball hitting the infield, we're breaking, no matter what. We may get thrown out at home, but if we do, we still have that runner at third. We're still in scoring position. I would much rather take our chances on that. So we get second and third, we're running.
And not only that, a lot of times the hitter will end up on second base because they're worried about the backside runner. So we just continue sending that runner from first base, or we will do a first and third play the next pitch if they don't get to second base.
So we're still going to get second and third just with one more out. But you're increasing your chances to score. And that's the goal, right? To score more runs than your opponent. It's about putting pressure on the defense. And then I tell you what, teams get crazy. They're like, they're so worried about you running and all this stuff, and they forget the fundamentals, and that's catching and throwing. And so you don't have to have a fast team. I think we'll still be very aggressive and still be pressure-oriented, even though we're slow this year. Okay? So I would encourage you to get after it, want that next 60 feet, do those little things in practice, focus, focus, focus. I know I was all over the place. I hope you learned something. I love what I do, and I hope you love what you do.
Do you need a softball bat? Do you want to save $30? SoftballJunk.com is offering an additional $30 discount off the price of all non-sale softball bats on their website. That's right, $30. So the next time you buy a bat, go to SoftballJunk.com and enter the code FPTV30 during checkout. And wham! You just put a cool $30 in your pocket.
Welcome back. Now that last short clip, that was my daughter Amanda, and she was telling you about my website, softballjunk.com. Now make sure you wrote down the code she gave you. If you didn't get it, it's FPTV30. Because anytime you buy a softball bat on my website, you can enter that code at checkout and save yourself $30. And you can use that code over and over and over. It's really a great deal for you. Every time you buy a bat, you'll save $30. You just need to remember the code, and that's FPTV30. Now, if you enjoy this show at all, I ask you at least check out my website, softballjunk.com, the next time you're looking for softball equipment. If I offer a competitive price, well, please buy from me and show your support for the show. It's actually a great way to support what I'm doing here. I hope you enjoyed Shonda's clinic, and please tell your friends about the show, Fastpitch.tv. Until next time, this is Gary Leland saying goodbye, and thanks for watching.
This show is a member of the Fastpitch TV network. See all our shows and blogs at www.fastpitch.tv.